Welcome everybody. Welcome to the May 2026 meeting of the Sydney Passengers. It's wonderful to see you all. Today we have passenger Micah Cover and one of his co-stars from the play Xander, who talk about the play that Micah has written, starred in, co-produced and co-directed. What a fantastic effort on Micah's part to do all that for the play. The Signals meeting notice that we sent out today about today's meeting had a link to the play on YouTube, so I hope you've all had a chance to watch it and have some questions you might want to throw Micah and Xander's way. Micah is a professional magician and entertainer, and both he and Xander are joining us from Los Angeles. So thank you very much for joining us on a Saturday night, your time, which I presume for you, at least, Micah, is one of your busy working nights, Saturday night normally. So thank you for taking the time to spend your Saturday night with us. Well, special welcome also to passenger Paul Metcalf attending his first meeting. Good to see you, Paul. Glad you could join us. As I mentioned, we're recording this meeting, and after suitable editing, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, and I'll send out an email when that video is available to watch for anybody. Just a bit of housekeeping for the passengers log. The deadline for the contributions to the next issue is the 30th of June. So if you have anything that you'd like to write for the log, have an idea that you may want to explore, then please let Erin know you're working on something, and she can be prepared to receive it when it comes in. In some media news, the young Sherlock TV series has been shown on Amazon Prime and has been commissioned for a second series. I think it's had some mixed reviews amongst Sherlockians, but overall it was received very favourably, I believe. Netflix has announced that Enola Holmes 3, that's their project name, we still don't know the real title of the movie, will be shown on the 1st of July. The storyline for this movie, which is set in Malta, is not based on one of the books from the series and has been written especially for the movie, so it'll be a new story for any fans of Enola Holmes. There's no more news on Sherlock Holmes 3, the next movie instalment in the Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law series. The plot is still unknown, but they say it's in development, so I guess we'll just watch this space and hopefully something will turn up before too long. In some Sherlockian canonical anniversaries to celebrate this month, just for your information, Xander, we're all Sherlock Holmes fans here, so we read the original stories and we look at some of the dates in those stories and see what actually occurred in the stories around the date of this meeting. So on the 2nd of May, 1883, Elias Openshaw was murdered by the Ku Klux Klan, as told to us by Dr. Watson in the 5 Orange Pips. On the 4th of May, 1847, Joseph and Lucy Ferrier were saved from dying in the wilderness by the Mormons who were passing on their way to set up a new city in Salt Lake City. Dr. Watson told us all about that in the Valley of Fear. On the 4th of May, 1882, an advertisement appeared in the Times newspaper asking for the address of Miss Mary Morstan, stating that it would be to her advantage to come forward. She took out her own advertisement and published her address, and very soon after received a very large pearl in the mail with no details of who sent it or why. This was the first of what turned out to be an annual occurrence for her, receiving a pearl in the mail, and that led to her contacting Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson in the Sign of 4. And of course, on the 4th of May, 1891 was the fateful encounter at the Reichenbach Falls between Holmes and Moriarty, as Dr. Watson described for us in The Final Problem. A very special date, on the 9th of May, 1985, the Sydney Passengers was formed. This was our 41st year, our 41st anniversary this year, so congratulations to us. And of course, on the 22nd of May, 1859, Arthur Conan Doyle was born in Edinburgh, Scotland. So a busy month for anniversaries in May, which is fantastic to see. In some other society news, we have the results of our annual Montpellier Award. Now, you may recall this is the award that everybody's invited to vote on to pick the best bit of research published in the Passengers Log for the last 12 months. And you may recall from the voting form that there were 4 contenders for the award this year. The first was Sherlock Holmes in Montpellier by Keith Suter. The second was Who Were the Real British Statesmen in the Adventure of the Second Stain by Stuart McMartin. The third contender was an article called That Was No Snake by Michael Duke. And the fourth contender was Where Did You Get That Hat by Matthew Hall. And we received quite a few number of votes this year, which is good to see. And the overall winner by a healthy margin was Matthew Hall. Where did you get that hat? So he will get the, I will engrave the Montpellier trophy for him. It's a bit big to, he's lives in the US, as you may remember, so it's a bit big to post him the trophy, but I'll have that engraved with his name as the annual winner. And that will be held here in my cabin, on the captain's cabin. And because Matthew also wrote a story with a very big Australian connection, and that received quite a number of very good votes, he also receives the Admiral Cobber Award.
Oh, wow.
Which is the award given to the article published in the log that has a very good Australian connection to it, and is in the spirit of one of our previous members, Arthur Williams, who used to write some very fantastic Australian articles. So that's in memory of him. So Matthew will win both those awards, so I'll congratulate him by email and let him have some pictures of those awards with his name engraved on them. Anybody else got anything to tell us? Any show and tell, any new books or videos that they may have watched which they can recommend to us all? Please, or usually got something, not today, which is...
I've usually got something, but I've bought so many Sherlock Holmes books recently that they got all piled up in the library.
There's too many to mention.
There's too many to mention.
That's okay.
New and old.
All right, without further ado then...
I was in London for about 6 weeks recently, visited 221. I got a few things. I've got this Sherlock Holmes Problems. I brought it there. I haven't really indulged in them yet. And then Moriarty by Moriarty's Problems by Sebastian Moran. And then I decided to, while I was there, I think it was at Hatchard's, I bought Maurice Lupin. I thought I'll just see what it's like, but not as good as Conan Doyle, I'm afraid. I mean, yeah, they're interesting if you like France, which I do, but anyway. So I've read some of those, yeah, but that was my light reading when I was in the
Very
UK.
Good.
Yeah.
I should also mention that Roseanne McNamara, one of our society members, is currently in Meiringen, Switzerland. So if you're visiting the Reichenbach Falls, she's on tour with the Sherlock Holmes Society of London, who are celebrating their 75th anniversary this year. And they're doing a tour to Switzerland, and they're currently in Meiringen this morning. So she was trying to join us from there. So hopefully she may have a chance to log in and say hello to us all. But she sent me a wonderful photo from her hotel window. You actually see the Reichenbach Falls from her hotel window. So it's a fantastic spot that she's in. And she'll be going up the falls later on today with the society to reenact the fight between Moriarty and Holmes, which is always a fun occasion. Okay, without any further ado, we'll pass over to Micah and Xander to talk about their play. So Micah is the brains trust behind this all, and he's done a fantastic job in writing, producing, directing and starring in it. So hopefully you all had a chance to view the play on YouTube and may have some questions for Micah and Xander. But over to you, Micah. Take it away and tell us all about it.
Sure. First of all, Bill and fellow passengers, it is such an honor to be here. I did have the honor with you because it's England. Do you spell honor with a U down there where you guys are? I should know this.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, the expatriate was the first one and not his head. Thank you, Fred. So I appreciate that. Yeah. I love irony. Oh, yes. And apparently I needed to mention that once again, I have my internet connection is stable. Apparently, I'm broadcasting from a Commodore 64. So I want to thank you ahead of time, guys, for your patience. Hopefully, my audio will still keep going, and I can pass the torch, the virtual torch, to my friend Xander and my co-star if I freeze completely. Oh, yeah. So, Bill, my point was it was also an honor to perform my close-up Sherlock Holmes themed act for you not too long ago for this August.
It was a fantastic presentation.
That was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And you guys gave me more and better Yelp reviews than I hear in LA. So thank you for that. I really wanted to thank you for that. But it's a pleasure to be back. And yeah, I started working on the play back in 2019, pre-COVID. If you can imagine I can barely imagine what that was like. And it took me about 6 years and 8 months to finish. And as Xander will tell you, we were editing it and cutting as much as we could up until like opening night. And it was a real nail biter, but we finally got the thing done and we opened it. And it was a pleasure. I got to work with Xander, who did an amazing job of playing Mycroft and Jack the Ripper and the Crook in the final scene. I don't expect all of you to have done your homework. I know what that's like. You guys have, and Bill's got, he's got 10 weeks of vacation in front of him. So I know you guys have other things to do, but if you did see it, you'll see how wonderful Xander was. It was a pleasure just to work with these people like Xander, and it's a pleasure to be here. And if you did see it, if you have anything on your mind that you'd like to talk about, if you yourself are writing a pastiche, I definitely want to hear about it because we can talk about that all night. There's a wonderful group out of Dallas called the Crew of the Bark Lone Star. And if you haven't connected with these people, you should. Why I hear you cry? Because they will publish your pastiches and they'll get published by Barnes and Noble, the only bookstore alive left in America. I can't speak for Australia, but that's basically all, and some independent stores who are trying to make it. But you can, and I've been writing stories within the universe of this play, and they will publish just about everything anything you submit. And can say you are a published Sherlock Holmes pastiche author in Barnes and Noble. All those words are true. So you have questions about that. But like I said, if you have pastiches, I want to hear about it. If you have questions for Xander, if you did get to see the video, Xander is here as well. He is zooming in the middle of traffic in LA. We could hear the horns just seconds ago. That's how he's in LA. And Fred probably remembers. I know, Fred, you were I believe you were in San Francisco, but it was basically the same thing. Here in LA, I take the neighbor's dog for a walk once a week, and the dog takes me to the freeway that runs behind my neighborhood. That's what it's like in LA. So, and Xander is, I think, in the middle of just standing between lanes 2 and 3 on the 110 North. I'm not sure, but look, Xander, look out. Okay, so enough of my yak. I would love to hear from you guys, especially if you're working on pastiches yourselves.
Well, Paul Jenkins down the bottom here is a very good pastiche writer. I mean, he's looking to publish something else. Paul, any luck with your books?
I'm re-editing it because I got some advice from Chris Sequoia. I talked to him intermittently, and one of my beta readers to just change something. So I've had to go back through it, but I was so busy that I haven't finished doing that. But it'll come this year sometime here. Yep.
Fantastic. Keep an eye out for that one.
Is that a novel, Paul?
So,
can I ask? Or a set of short stories? Or?
No, it's a novel about 60,000 words, probably perhaps a bit shorter than that once I've finished editing. Yeah.
Cool.
Mm.
That's awesome. And so, Paul, I'm from LA, so I had 2 questions for you, Paul Jenkins. One, is that a real green screen behind you or actual books behind you?
That's actual books.
Okay,
it's actual books. It's not mine.
Okay.
Somewhere else. I've got a Holmes library which I use, but I'm in another person's place, a physics professor, and that's his bookshelf.
Okay.
So I can't claim that.
You're in front of someone else's bookshelf now, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. You Pauls are devious. You in front of, there's another Paul on this meeting,
That's
Paul
right,
Jenkins,
yes.
and he's in front of a green screen. It's not real, but the books are real. You guys are bending reality over itself. I can't keep Paul's. So, Paul, here's my second question. And there is something I need to say about Xander, because I need to not be talking the whole time. I'm just excited to be here. Paul, second question, then I need to say something about Xander. So, Paul, I'm in LA, so this begs the question. Do you have an elevator pitch for your novel? And if so, what is it? What is the elevator pitch for your novel? Go.
Oh, okay. Watson arrives in Sydney in 1891 and spends some time in quarantine. He, while wandering in Sydney, stumbles across 3 children, one of whom is deceased, and takes the 2 living children to Sydney Hospital, where he meets a medical student who's based on a real person, and they hunt the people that are now known as baby farmers in Sydney, coming to a dramatic conclusion not only in the court, but then later on.
That's a hell of a pitch, Paul. I can't wait to read that. And yeah, you guys, wow, you guys are crazy in Australia. We don't have baby farmers in LA, and not because we're more moral, it's because everyone's vegan. But that reminds me, I need to, yeah, Fred remembers. He's like, oh yeah, you bunch of hippies. I'm not for Australia. Oh, but other thing to say about pastiches, and this brings in the first short story pastiche I ever wrote. The crew of the Bark Lone Star took it almost sight unseen, published it immediately, and it got published on Barnes and Noble. Well, Xander has now turned it into a 30-minute one-man show. This first pastiche I ever got published, and it's absolutely brilliant. He's editing it as we speak, and it is within the universe of the play. And Xander, do you have anything to tell us about that, or anything from your perspective?
Yeah, it was really cool. Micah wanted this 10-page script brought to life, and it got brought to life ×3 to be a 30-minute one-act performance. And yeah, it's really juicy. I don't know like how much you want like revealed about it right now or not of like the plot.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to say because it's connected to a secret within the play.
Yeah,
they don't necessarily want to give away until they see your video. So I had hoped that people who came to the play, I hope that this video would have already been produced. I didn't even get to approach Xander with it yet. That didn't happen, but we're still going to, when Xander is ready, we're going to share it with people who've seen the play. So with Bill's permission, you'll also get an email soon with it kind of, what would you call it, Xander? Like a prequel to the play, or how might you describe it, Xander?
Oh yeah, what do you call when it's like side things?
Like a spin-off, I guess.
Spin-off.
Well, yeah, spin-off and like extension, another story, another adventure.
That's right, yeah. But that was the adventure. Right. Well, you're lucky if they love the word adventure. Well played, Xander. Yeah. But yeah, as beautiful as Mycroft, and well, he's kind of Moriarty off stage, and he's also Jack. He also plays the crook in the final scene. But to watch Inspector Lestrade in this video that we're talking about, hopefully it'll be available to you guys soon. It's kind of like Xander says, it's an extra adventure that's part of this. And when you get to see it, I hope you like it. I've been yakking too much. Oh yeah.
So, Micah, with your last case of Dr. Watson play, you said you started writing the script for that in 2019. Did it change very much? Did it change very much over from your original idea when you finished it?
At first, I was going to go Batman and old Joe Chill, like he was just this rando guy. I don't know if you guys are a fan of Batman, but in most of the stories, Bruce Wayne's parents are killed by this kind of random guy. And since then, people have tried to find connections between this random guy and the rest of Bruce Wayne's destiny. And then, of course, Tim Burton came in and said, no, not a random guy. It's actually the Joker. And I was actually thinking of that film when I realized who Jack the Ripper had to be. And those of you who have seen the video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who have not completely understand, but you have something that we like to call in Los Angeles lives. So if you have a love and you haven't seen it yet, I completely understand. But if and when you do watch the video, you'll know exactly what I mean. So to answer your question, Bill, one of the things was Jack the Ripper. It came to me kind of like making Joker the killer of Bruce Wayne's parents. I realized Jack the Ripper had to be, at least in this universe, was able to back it up with some pretty solid arguments. And no one knows for sure who it is anyway. So it might as well be, I said. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of that, Paul, when you were talking about your cool plot, which sounds amazing, by the way. Oh, and Paul, do you have a title for your upcoming novel?
Yes, it's called Lost Angels.
Oh my God, that's perfect. And we're from LA. Holy crap, Paul. We got to collab. I feel like we're like at a pitch. We're like at a pitcher's meeting already. Xander knows all about those. Yeah. But it's so funny, Paul. When I was listening to your pitch, yeah, Xander's celebrating. Yay. Now we just need some fun. When you were talking about your pitch and you said, oh, and Watson finds one boy I think you said boy who's already deceased. Is that right, Paul?
That's true. Yeah. Yes. It comes from my family history, actually, which is interesting. Yeah.
Oh. So this is based on some actual events.
Oh, yes, definitely. Most of it, 80% of it is true. Yep.
Holy crap. Wait, so are you like a descendant of ruthless baby farmers, or do we need to know more about you?
No, my mother was baby farmed, yeah. And so I was told by my auntie, pretty much close to her death, but my mum had died already, the story. And so it generated an interest, and then I linked it into, the Watson story in the Great Hiatus, basically, yeah.
Good stuff.
That's your mom farm?
Yeah, yes. My mum survived, fortunately, but I've changed the timeline a little bit and a few other things. I had to make some adjustments because, to fit in with some other things, and there was a lot of other stuff going on in Sydney in the 1890s, which was, I won't go into, but was extremely interesting. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, as we know from the Sherlock Holmes stories, Australia, especially in the 1890s, was a den of sin and destruction and evil.
Right,
yeah,
yes.
we learned that from the good and evil Aarons today, the Neils and the Pauls. We still haven't. I think I was going to have a vote to decide which one is the evil Paul and which one is good. We'll find out at the end of the meeting.
I'm keen to let Paul Metcalf have a talk because he's just been published, which I haven't been yet. So he's lots of steps ahead of me.
Yes,
Paul Metcalf, do you have a moment to talk about that?
Yeah, hello. I'm lucky enough to have 2 books published, one late last year and one a month or so ago. My first was a collection of short stories, traditional type pastiches, and then a novel just last month. And I think I agree with Paul. I know there's something in the name, but Paul, I was told that when you want to be an author, you should write what you know. And my first, obviously, Paul knows his family history and has drawn on that. And mine's not quite as exciting or romantic or whatever as that, but I'm a book collector, and I came across a book that I've been hunting for a long time. Quite rare to get hold of a decent copy, and I finally did. And then I thought maybe I could write a story about this. Then I turned up with the case of the Australian atlases, based on the picturesque atlas of Australasia, published in 1887. Which was one of the last great works to do before photography, and all the illustrations were hand engraved on copper and printed. And it was a tour de force of publishing at the time. So I made up a story about it, and it got accepted in the MX book series of the anthology series they do for charity. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes.
Oh, MX is huge. Yeah, even in America. Congratulations, yes. Paul.
That's right. 52 volumes they managed to turn out, and the proceeds go to Undershore, which was the former home of Conan Doyle and is now a home and a school for autistic children. So, I mean, I have autism myself and my son does, so that was a charity close to my heart. And I was lucky enough to get accepted in there. And from there, it led to the editor and the publisher saying, if you can write some more like that, we'd like to publish you. So it's gone on from there.
Fantastic.
Congratulations, Paul. That's wonderful. And you said this is the adventure of the Australian atlases. Did I hear that correctly?
My first book was called The Case of the Australian Atlases and Other Sherlock Holmes Adventures. There were 8 short stories.
Very nice.
Yes. And it's based on a book called The Picturesque Atlas of Australasia.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Paul. That's very cool. And yeah, I wanted to ask Xander something else while we still have time before he mowed down by traffic. But thank you, Paul. And was there anyone else who has a pastiche that they wanted to tell us about? Because I'm very interested, because that's kind of my thing now.
Louise,
yes.
I've written a few home stories. over the years. And I haven't been writing fiction for a little while, but I am back into it now. And I'm cooking up a possible project with Stephen Herzig, who's a member of the Passengers, who's not online today. But the other thing I'm doing is I'm also writing in the Solar Ponds universe, because I've become involved as well as the Passengers with the organisation called the Parade Street Irregulars, which is devoted to solar ponds. So I've got a few in the pipeline.
Nice.
And yeah, I would definitely be interested in contacting the crew of the Bark Lone Star about them down the track.
You should, Lee. And do you have a relatively new story that you're working on currently, Lee?
The one I'm working on at the moment is a ponds story, so not of as much interest to the Holmes people, perhaps, but it's what I call Holmes adjacent. So, yeah. But it's only on the boil at the moment.
Sure. Have you ever
I like them, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever considered a Solar Ponds Sherlock Holmes mashup, Lee? And if so, could you be the person to write that?
Well, Belanger Books, who publish a lot of the Solar Pond stuff these days, has recently released a 2-volume anthology called The Meeting of the Minds, in which Holmes and Solar Ponds both feature. So I think I might have missed the jump on that one, actually. But anyway, they're putting out quite a few things. You know, they publish Solar Ponds and the Necronomicon and all this sort of thing, which also hit me where I live because I'm a Lovecraft fan. Anyway.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I put out a little booklet a few years ago, which was illustrated by Philip Cornell. It only had 3 stories in it, and home stories. And I'm interested in getting that republished, but one of the drawbacks is that the colour illustrations, brilliant though they are, they cost a lot to reproduce. So I'm keen to find a publisher who would put out the book again in a bigger edition, but with the colour illustrations as well. So I can pitch that to them.
Nice. Why not? Yeah. And speaking of pitches, Lee, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, or I don't mean to map out your career, but I just had an idea. What if Ponds finds out that Dr. Watson is going to Australia? Dr. Watson finds a poor dead boy and he's trying to help some other kids in this hospital. Holmes he's on the great hiatus. Who can help Stoller? I don't want to tell you how to do your next story, but I'm just thinking, I don't know. I think Solar Pond needs to go to Australia. And I think when Paul Jenkins needs to join forces and fight crime together. That's what I'm thinking, Lee. But again, it's up to you. Yeah.
I love collaborating on stories. So, you know, if anybody's interested, fire me off an email and I'll write a story with you.
Paul was already twirling his mustache, making plans. I like that. Yeah, he was already doing just listening to that. So I think you two need to collaborate. But speaking of collaborations, Xander, I wanted to ask you, obviously we are a room full of, the technical term is nerds. We are a room full of nerds, and we love Sherlock Holmes, we love Solar Ponds, we love Dr. Watson, we love H.P. Lovecraft. But Xander, you are coming from the perspective of a professional actor, and you don't sift over all these details as we do. You're just there to play a role, to play Mycroft, to play Jack the Ripper, to play Inspector Ludd. What was that like for you? Not necessarily being a nerd, but a professional actor coming at this stuff.
Yeah, well, it's great with such legacy and technical, just the depth and academic of everything that like I tend to do, or I enjoy doing immersive, like interactive type stuff where there's a lot of improvising and just going on a whim. It's like, oh, like I'm not qualified to go off the rails in this universe. So it was such a wonderful piece that Micah wrote, and so it was great to be able to be honest to the play and do research and collaborate. And yeah, I mean, if you're not doing a like devised show or like an improv thing, like the script is where it's at for them, the actor to work their magic. And so it was a blast being along for the ride.
Good. Micah, how many performances of
Thank you, Sandra.
how many performances of the play were there?
There were only 5 total, although those of you who have seen the play, you know how important the number 5 was. That was very intentional. And so, yeah, we had a total of 5 performances, and that was in November of 2025. Yeah, and as Xander was saying, I wrote the script very tightly. It had to be very precise. So again, I don't know if you guys have seen the play yet, but I'll let you in on a little secret that Xander knows. Every single line in the play was either 5 word long or a multiple of 5. And so for those of you who are writing, it's a weird writing exercise to put that boundary on it. They say that sometimes when you put boundaries on things, it does allow you to be more creative. So what I had to do was sit down and write a play where every single line was 5 words long. But Xander, who's coming from the background that Xander's talking about, I don't know if you've seen it, but the final scene, the final reveal, Xander plays a crook. And Xander improvised like 90% of that. And Xander kept improvising more and more every night, and it became one of the hits of the run. So that was the only time we weren't scripting every letter and tightening it. Xander was improvising most of that stuff, and it was just a huge hit.
That's true. How could I?
Bravo.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. How could I have forgotten of the wacky improvisational moment? Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, as like this scene is starting to emerge as it was like 1940s New York crook.
It was 1941 exactly.
Yeah. And I'm going up to the audience members in the venue and having my money bag out and give me what you have. Let me have it. And so it was really fun picking different items from the audience. And the most my generation term savage audience member was Micah's mother, who instead of handing over an item to the bag, she goes, "No, I don't want to give you anything. What do you got there?" And she takes the bag from me and reaches in and she goes, "I'll have this." Respect. Okay. You're off the hook.
Yeah, my favorite moment in play is when a 1941 bank crook says to my own mother, "Respect." Like that just kind of blew my mind. That's what happened at the final scene. So if you do watch the video, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. So I know that most, if not all of you guys are writers. Anybody here in theater, acting, anything like that as well?
I don't think so.
Roseanne, yes, but she's not here.
I'm a peasant, and I got a few questions for you before we run out.
Oh, yeah. Is that John?
That's Tizai.
Yes.
Now, you were going on there, you said that everything's 5. You had 5 shows. The video recording on YouTube, what show was that? What number?
It was
recorded
it was closing night. Yeah, it was closing night. So as you know, in theater, nothing is ever perfect, and that's kind of traction of it. But what you saw, closing night was probably the most polished we ever got. So yeah, I was happy that they filmed and edited closing night. I thought they did a very good job with it, and I'm just so grateful that now people in Australia, of all places, can see it as well. So yeah, John, it was the 5th night.
The 5th night, okay. Hindsight's a great thing. So after you did the 5 shows, if there was one thing you could say, I could probably fine-tune that, what would it be?
Ooh, thank you, John. I mean, there's always things that, especially it's so, as Xander will tell you, it's so surreal to see you on video after the fact. For me, anyway, it's genuine surreal. Xander might be more than about it, but for me, it's a genuinely surreal experience. So it's a little hard for me to say that for sure, especially about my own performance. I will say that when we introduce the final hero of the final scene, and if you've seen the video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I worked for months with a voiceover actor who recited the opening lines to The Shadow. And it set up the scene, but it also explained the connections and all the Easter eggs that we had been planting throughout the play. The problem was Xander's improv was just so good, and it was over the voiceover. No one could hear any of it, but I didn't want to say anything because people loved it. And after the show, my mom came up to me and said, "Man was so sassy. I loved it." So, I mean, how do you know? I mean, how do you know what to change when things like that happen? When your own mom says, that man said respect, and I respect him for it. It's all worth it. So, John, that's an excellent question, and I'm not sure what the answer is. All I know is if we had the opportunity to do 5 more shows, I'm sure we would have discovered more things. It would have evolved even more. But I'm still very proud of what we did.
Fair enough. So possibly Golden Globes there, eh?
There you go, John. Now you're talking my language. Yeah.
I did a bit of research, and I just happened to pop onto that little podcast you did with Dr. Michael Likely back in October last year.
Yeah, Xander was there. And most of the cast was there.
You had a crew there. I was a bit, I wouldn't say I wasn't taken back, but you class yourself as nerds, the great game, whereas the Dr. Watson stories are real and Doyle was a literary agent. Now that, in the real world, if you take the canon and the diehards, do you have to go around with private security at times?
Another question, John. Yeah, so those of you who have seen this, well, I can see it right here, and you can see it Xander is sitting on a very expensive park bench where one of our ads is right behind Xander. And as you can see, it is actually all about the occult. So, John, you're absolutely right. I'm going into kind of dangerous territory with the people who just love the canon. Now, of course, I think Lee said you were an H.P. Lovecraft fan, and I'm betting a number of you here are as well. As you know, there have been some wonderful pastiches. James Lovegrove wrote a whole trilogy of the mashup between Sherlock Holmes and the world of H.P. Lovecraft, which I thought was brilliant. I really leaned into this occult magic with a K thing that I haven't quite seen to this level before. And people who love the canon, it's going to irk them. We already had one hater. One former friend of mine did not like it at all for that other reasons. So, yeah, I know I have nothing but respect, as Xander would say. I have nothing but respect for my fellow nerds, the wonderful Sherlockians that I learned so much from. And I know that sometimes they can get offended things, but I really love the story, and I'm glad I wrote it. I'm glad I produced it. If it offends people, I understand, but then that might inspire them to write their own play, and the more the merrier. So you're right, John. That is a question. John, have you written a pastiche, John? Have you had to worry about these things?
I'm one of those ones on the fringe. I see Xander's going. I've got one question for Xander. In that podcast back in October there, your background is, comedy and things like that. And when you playing the I suppose the deadly ones you're playing in the play, the evil guys. So would that put you out of your comfort zone? Because I know we all like our comfort zone and we become certain method actors, but then going from a comfort zone into, being a real bastard, how does it go? Does it stretch you, or do you say, "Ooh, I'm in no man's land"?
Yeah, stretching and also returning to roots, and it's all muscle memory. But yeah, I really do take pride in myself that I love doing all sorts of different genres of live performance. And so while I do absolutely love being in like the comedy wheelhouse and absurdism, different things and stuff, it is really rewarding to do dramatic work. But also, I do love playing villains and intense, macabre stuff. And then actually Micah's show set me on a trajectory that a couple of months after that, I booked a role of Rumpelstiltskin in a non-kid-friendly show where it was like human actors, but I was voicing and puppeteering this full-body Rumpelstiltskin puppet, and that was more intense than wacky. And then I've done a few other more grounded things, but now I'm returning to clowny, wacky stuff coming up at Hollywood Fringe next month. I'm going to be in two clowning shows, doing all sorts of fun stuff. But it was definitely exciting to be a part of this and dig into the meat of these sinister beings.
Great.
No worries. And just one last question for Micah. This is a rather deep one. So, as the nerds on the fringe, we have the canon, the Ten Commandments, the Bible.
Wow.
When you're standing back, I suppose, blue skying, there's only so many put out in the canon. So we've got the new stuff. Do you, as a writer, actor, think expanded the universe of Holmes? Because it's certainly gone in a lot of directions that, well, yeah, for your video, I wouldn't have thought, vampires are involved.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So those of you who haven't seen it yet, yes, there are vampires involved. And John, you bring up an excellent point. The canon is kind of our Bible. But of course, as you know, there are some contradictions in our Bible. And so this was kind of my unified field theory. If I could answer all those weird questions about the chronology, about the fact that this doctor couldn't even get his own war injury straight. What's going on? Yeah, and this was my answer. Magic with A was vampires. And so I'm hoping that people see that. I mean, obviously, they don't have to agree with this. I don't think that I do. I just think it's a wonderful story. But I do hope that I have added to the universe of Sherlock Holmes by doing my best to stay within the canon. I actually did spend a lot of time on the C word, chronology. Yes, I did. And I did my best, my story within the chronology as best as we can guess it within the canon. But I still put in my own little answer in between the lines. And so I hope people respect that. But even if they don't, I hope they enjoy just a fun story that might inspire them to ask cool questions like you just did, John. So thank you. I hope that answered your question.
Excellent.
I got a couple of comments, if I can not detract from other people who want to talk.
I got to jump. It was a pleasure being on the call with y'all.
Thank you, Xander. Thank you, Xander. So good to see you. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Take care, everyone.
You'll be seeing Xander. Thank you, Xander. You'll be seeing Xander and Xander's one-man show of Inspector Lestrade soon. So thank you.
Awesome. All right. Till next time.
Bye.
Thank you. And so Lee, what was on your mind, my friend?
Well, look, I had a couple of things. I just wanted to comment on the play, which I just watched before online with a couple of things.
Yeah.
It's certainly the first Sherlock Holmes play I've ever seen where the shadow, a vampire, and such like were included. And I did want to ask you what your thoughts are about the supernatural powers that Holmes has in the play, and whether you feel that, in a sense, that detracts from Holmes's ability to use ratiocination, to deduce things by pure intellect. Because if he's given magical powers, then doesn't it kind of detract from his deductive abilities?
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point, and we actually address that in the play. He's using his psychic abilities first, and then molding his observations around that. And you're right. The opposite side of that same coin is, well, wait a minute. Wasn't he a human being who really is using logic and, as you so aptly put, nation? And that gives us hope that if Holmes is a human being and he can do this, maybe we all can. He's kind of like our Batman, where if you turn him into a vampire, he suddenly becomes more like a Superman. You know what I mean? But I decided that is how I was going to explain all these things. I mean, the fact is, the man could see in the dark. That's a quote from one of the stories. He had almost supernatural sense of smell and a sense of taste. And he could identify the origin of a piece of mud on someone's shoe across the room. He could identify the bearing of a soldier across the street when a military man, Dr. Watson, was standing right next to him and couldn't. Now, can an actual person do this? Well, the whole idea is yes, and that man is Sherlock Holmes. But then I thought, well, wait a minute, there's so many problems with the chronology and with the inconsistencies and with people forgetting things. Can we resolve all of that? And my answer was magic with a K. My answer was the supernatural. But you're right. If you take away the supernatural, you have a human being, which gives us hope that maybe we can be like that ourselves. It's just a different perspective. But I completely understand your point, and it's a good one.
I mean, I'm very interested in magic, so I have used it in a couple of stories myself. But
Sure.
yeah, it's a difficult balancing act, I think, isn't it? Sometimes
it is. And one of the things about the H.P. Lovecraft trilogy that James Love wrote was Sherlock Holmes says, the laws of magic are just like the laws of science. And now I just got to memorize the law of magic. And he did. And he became like this sorcerer. So it was how the author's perspective on magic. Can that be introduced in the world of Sherlock Holmes? James Lovegrove said, well, you know what? I will for H.P. Lovecraft, and that's what I did for this. But you're right. It is a bit of a balancing act, and everybody's like it. But that's completely understandable because Sherlock Holmes means something so important and so unique and so individual to every fan. And this is one of the things that Sherlock Holmes means to me.
there's Roseanne.
Here's Roseanne joining us from Meiringen in Switzerland.
Wow.
Hello. Oh, hello. Oh, are you at the Reichenbach Falls, Roseanne?
That's it. That's
Yes,
in the background.
Can you see that behind me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm sitting here in my hotel room, and that's the view out of my window. And that you can see just there in the middle is the bottom of the Reichenbach Falls.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And I would have been here sooner, but I screwed up the times between here and Sydney.
We're so glad you could join us, Roseanne.
Well, Roseanne,
Good to see you,
I'm amazed you were here at all. But yeah, Bill was saying that you were going to reenact the actual wrestling match between Holmes and Moriarty over the falls. I'm glad you survived, and I'm glad you're here, Roseanne. Welcome and congratulations.
Thank you. I'm not personally reenacting it. There are members, a couple of members of the Sherlock Holmes Society of London who are assigned the roles of Holmes and Moriarty, and they'll be reenacting it, I guess about 5 hours or something like that, because it's just before 7 a.m. here.
And Roseanne, what happens to the actors when they're done wrestling with each other with the Baritsu? Do they go into how much do they commit to the role, Roseanne? Do they go into the water? What happens, Roseanne?
I think they go down to the pub, actually.
They go down to the pub. Okay, that's a little safer. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Because that was word, Roseanne. Okay, that's safer. Thank you for clarifying that. Well, welcome. It's good to have you.
So, Roseanne, how was the tour going, Roseanne?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's sort of a lot of, it's fairly, it's a 4 or 5 days. And we've spent the last few days in Lausanne in Switzerland, where the Conan Doyle collection, his own personal collection that Adrian Conan Doyle inherited and turned into a collection, is housed in Lausanne. And we were given a great introduction to that and what's in the collection. And we saw part of it and went to the castle where Adrian had actually lived there. And then we went off to the Charlie Chaplin Museum because, Charlie Chaplin, as we know, played Buttons in the Gillette stage play.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful one. That's his own house. And then there's a museum that they put together next door, which is absolutely wonderful. The museum, you get lots of his films and wonderful displays and posters, and it was very interesting.
And how many people in the tour group?
There's about 60. It was only supposed to be 40, but people kept begging to come. And so there's about 60 in the group, all in Victorian costume. So it's great fun.
Very good. Oh, sounds like you're enjoying yourself.
Yes. So apologies again for mistiming.
That's okay. Thank you. I'm so glad you can join us.
I think you win the prize for background of the meeting, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the intention.
Yeah, rub it in.
So, Roseanne, just to clarify, that's not a screen, right? You're actually there, Roseanne, because you never know with these guys. You're actually there, Roseanne?
It's not AI, is it?
No, it's not
It's not AI.
AI. You can
All right.
actually see this is the village of or the town of my Ringen out here. Just down there under the
Beautiful.
tree is the statue of Sherlock Holmes.
Yep.
And that really used the bottom of the waterfall. And this was my hotel room.
You're not staying in the English house, are you?
Well, it's the Hotel
Yeah.
Savage or something, but it actually has a plaque on the front saying, calling itself the English Hof, but where Sherlock Holmes stayed. So everything around here, this Conan Doyle place and the Sherlock Holmes pub, and we're giving great amusement to the local people as we turned up in vintage buses and
Fantastic.
it seems to give a lot of joy to a lot of people to see us all getting out there in costume and having fun.
Terrific.
That's awesome. And Roseanne, if you get a letter saying that there's someone back at the hotel dying of consumption and you got to help her right away, don't fall for it, Roseanne. Stay where you are. Stay where you are, Roseanne.
Yeah, I won't fall for it, but I suspect Dr. Watson will.
Probably, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Great.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to see you, Rose.
Oh, thank you very much.
I think Fred had a question for you, Micah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's
Fred,
okay.
you had a question?
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, there's your hand, Fred.
I'm just jumping back. Sorry, and Roseanne, that was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. But jumping back to the magic with a K, and as a number of the passengers will know, I've got a Sherlockian canon, and at the risk of quoting a racist sounding comment, Sherlock Holmes did refer to a book that he read by a gentleman named Eckerman, and the book was called, he read it, it was Voodooism and the Negroid Religions. So that may help you with your magic crossover if you ever need to use that.
That's a very good point. Yeah, there's definitely moments where Doyle touches on that theme, like voodoo, as you just mentioned. And of course, man, you cannot get more H.P. Lovecraft than The Devil's Foot. When Holmes says, "Hey, let's light this up and see what happens." Oh man, that gets, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a drug trip, but it's genuinely borderline supernatural. So you're right, Fred. Doyle spent time dropping little hints. And of course, as we know, it was Holmes who said, "No, go apply." But Doyle was just an expert at dropping these little Easter eggs and hints that maybe voodoo does have a place in this universe, even though Holmes doesn't need it. And you're absolutely right. And I just leaned into it and said, no, it actually is his universe. That's the play that I wrote. But yeah, thank you for reminding me of that, Fred, because he mentioned voodoo. Thank you. Yeah. And now we just call it AI. So, again, it's just perspective. I'm 99% sure that Roseanne is at the Reichenbach Falls, but we never know anymore. Yeah.
Oh, the falls is real, but I'm a robot.
It's Roseanne. Roseanne is the robot. See, that's the plot twist. See, you guys need to write this pastiche. It's Roseanne who's the robot. I love that. Someone Lee, I don't know, someone write it. Write that. John, get on it. Any of you, go for it. Yeah, I love that, Roseanne.
Good stuff.
Bill, I know we're past the hour mark, and I don't know how long your meeting is, but if people have to go, I just want to say again, it's such an honor to be here and a pleasure. And anyone who did watch it, thank you for doing that. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, it's just a pleasure being with you guys tonight.
Thank you, Micah. I'll just ask, has anybody else got any more questions for Micah about his play or the work he does? Then if there's nothing really to say to Micah anymore, then we might let him go. Maybe enjoy the rest of his Saturday night.
Okay.
So thank you again,
Guys,
Micah,
thank
for
you so
joining
much.
us.
Thank you, Micah. It was a great play. Loved it.
Oh, that means, who said that? Because I'm going to quote you on that. Whoever said thank you.
I can write you a better blurb than that.
Lee, yeah. Honestly, guys, we're still promoting it. Xander is still
should
producing a video that's part in the universe. Oh, Lee.
If you haven't seen it online, please go and watch it. It's very entertaining.
Yes, I like
Lee, that's what we need. Thank you. And we're still promoting it. if there is something nice you can say, like Lee just did, and put it in an email that we can use for promotion, please email it to me because it really helps. We're still actually working on it. So, Lee, that was very kind of you. And thank you again, all of you. And I'll put my email address in the chat if you don't already have it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Micah, and all the best for your future projects. And no doubt we'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Guys, thank you so much. Have a good afternoon, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Oh, that's great. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Hope you had a fine time learning about Micah's play and other stuff. That's all for now, I think, unless anybody else has got something that they want to tell us about. Otherwise, we'll say goodbye, and we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.
Okay.
Bye.